Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all for coming. Let's continue learning from Master Shurangama's teachings.
未免太苦了。那决定怎么样呢？决定就学这个小孩子，他不用心，对着妈妈发脾气，完了就忘了。
So exactly how was it? Exactly. Just learn from this little child. He doesn't use his mind. The mom lost her temper. After that, he forgot it all.
一般人以为我这是讲笑，和你们说笑话，其实不是。你要能学到这个小孩子那个样子，那就是功夫成就了。
You ordinary people think I'm joking, but telling joke is actually, if you can learn this and do as this little child does, that is achieving your kung fu.
你要不能像那个小孩子那样子，那还要用功。那些那个小孩子无心，一切都无心。我做什么事？
If you can't do as this little child does, then you need to apply more effort, because little children nowadays are single-minded. They do everything without using the mind.
事情都不用心，这就对。你所用心的事情，那就错了；不用心的就是对的。你说小孩子。
I do everything without using my mind. Doing anything with your mind is wrong. This is the one not using the mind, like the little child.
他们本来面目那个时候，这是
This is called return to the original and revert to the source. That's the original appearance. Then, to learn from the little child.
好了，我们就小孩子，不要小大人。大人会撒谎，会大妄语，小孩子不会大妄语。
Don't be like adults. Adults lie and say false words. The little child won't.
So slow. 小的脾气不愿意。OK。一个问题，请各位善知识来做一个答复。这个问题就问他们。
There is a question. All good knowing advisor, please give an answer. The question is,
这个小孩子是应该由他自由发展呢，是应该让父母来教化他，来管理管理。 这是在美国的人人都知道这个问题。
This little child, should we let him develop freely, or should the parents teach him and discipline him?
怎么样说呢？但是我现在要问一问呢，看他怎么样说。
We saw the hymn tonight.
这个问题
Nobody answered?
是不是都不想有小孩子？
Are you all pretending like
面对他的家人这个安排。
Well, I think they would have come up with an answer in that. I said if you'd have if there wasn't a person to watch over the child, then it would be very easy for it to go out and get a knife or take some poison and kill itself. So, so you had to have somebody to watch over it. But when it grew up, it didn't have to have anybody to watch over it.
首先问一个问题是大家愿不愿意要小孩子？
Oh, let me have that.
Here in America, everybody knows the answer to this question, but now I would like to ask and hear everybody's opinion. Nobody answered. Is it because none of you want to have children? The first question is, do you want children?
Yeah, you asked the question, did anybody want one or not? Does everybody want a kid?
这个要答复这个问题。不要小孩子，生个小孩子就赶快把他杀了，拿来吃了，吃小猪是。
Are you willing to answer this question? If you don't want a child, but give birth to one, just kill him quickly and eat him, like eating a piglet.
不要把这个，不要我的。你我的家里就不吃了。
可不可以？
Can you do this or not?
可以，不可以？你是要小孩子了，是不是啊？不可以的啊！我也说不可以，这是和我一样的见解。
Is that okay? No. Then you say you want to have children. You say no. I also say no. This is the same nature as me.
不错了，我今天晚上呢就讲这个。你生一个小孩子不能把他杀了，然后自己吃了，一定要希望他长大。
Tonight, I will talk about this. These children you give birth to, you can't kill him and eat him yourself. You must wish him to grow up.
不但自己不吃它，也不希望人家吃它，也不希望其他人把我这个儿子拿过杀了吃它，是不是啊？这是一定的道理。
Not only you won't eat him yourself, you also do not want others to eat him. Also, don't want others to take my son to kill and eat him, right?
你不希望自己把他杀了，也不希望人家把他杀了，也不希望。
This is absolute principle. You don't want to kill him yourself, and also don't want others to kill him.
自己把这个小孩子的肉吃了，也不希望其他人吃自己的小孩子的肉。
You don't want to eat the meat of this child. and also don't want others to eat the meat of your child.
这样的呢，你一定要很爱护他，对他很慈悲，对他很慈悲。所以就照顾他。
Then, like this, you must love and care for him a lot. Also, be very compassionate towards him. Be very compassionate towards him.
你不管他，你照顾他，就是因为他的思想不正确。
So you should take care of him, cannot ignore him. You take care of him because his thoughts are not sound.
你慢慢让他行一个正路，不要叫他行一个邪路。
So, slowly, you're guiding him to take the proper path. You won't let him take the deviant path.
现在你看一看，这个国家的青年，多数都往那个邪路上跑，欢喜吃毒。
Take a look now. The youth of this country, majority, are running on the deviant path. They like to use drugs.
欢喜，对父母最坏就是英雄。为什么他这样？就是因为父母不管他。
They like, whoever treats the parents the worst is the hero. Why is he like that? It is because the parents neglected him.
所以他觉得这个父母最坏。如果你小的时候就叫他孝悌忠信义廉耻。
So, he feels these parents are the worst. If the parents taught him filiality, fraternal respect, loyalty, trustworthiness,
这些个问题，然后他呢就不会走到这种途径上。
propriety, righteousness, incorruptibility, and a sense of shame when he was young, all these, then he won't talk, he won't walk till this point, he won't be on this path. Master, there's a question regarding to the last two slides. 孝悌忠信礼义廉耻. We have a request to elaborate on those 8 items.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, let me see. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit and look it up. Someone look it up, and then we can talk about it. Okay, he went through a lot tonight here. I was waiting for an appropriate place to stop and have some discussions. What he started first by saying is that we should not think like a child. Children don't think, don't have thoughts like we do, don't think like we do. Okay? So he says, your cultivation should make you like children, where you don't think. Okay, the children doesn't use his mind. Okay, and actually he quickly forgets at all. So he doesn't stay on his affliction as long as we do. That's what he means. So far, so good. Okay, so he said you should be like a child. Okay, that sounds logical, but to me it's much harder to do than the way it sounds. Okay, logically you can say I should be like a child, I should think less, but you're not like that. You are used to thinking. Okay, this is you're proud to think. Okay, you feel the need to think for your survival, for your for getting what you want. So for the great masters to say you should behave like a child, to me it's difficult to achieve, and it's theoretical. Okay. In contrast, I prefer, and we stumble on this. It's not like we planned this. Okay, we just stumble on this. That is, we stumble on helping you getting back to the state of the mind of a child. That is easier to tell you. Never mind. Remember that state where you are. Okay, and that's the state you want to go back to. Don't think so much. There's time to think. But normally, don't think as much. Okay, and that's what she's referring to, the state of a child. So far, so good. This is what I'm not sure that's how the other Chinese masters taught their disciples, but this is what Master YongHua taught his disciples. Okay, and I find that, to me personally, to be difficult to understand, to relate to. How can you say the state of mind of a child? It's just words. The mind of a child is just words to us. Okay? It's very difficult. I don't know. I see children here. I don't know, what is their state of mind. I can't read minds, can you? Okay? So that's my problem with that approach. Again, we lucked out. Okay? The principle is sound, but the actual advice on how to do it is not, in my humble opinion. Okay? So we stumble upon a thing that helps you get back to the state of the mind, state of mind of a child. That is, through what? You know it. How do you get back to the state of mind of a child? Huh? Anyone? This is why it's so popular. Most people, when they come here to do the cheese, they like to do this because that's exactly what happens to them. Q&A, go ahead, while they're thinking about it.
A Di Đà Phật. Và để mà có thể mà quay về hay là bắt chước như con nít đó, thì thầy cũng thường dạy là phải bớt suy nghĩ, bớt phân biệt, bớt phê bình.
Okay.
Master, you taught us in order to go back to be like a child, like we need to reduce thinking, we have to reduce our discrimination.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? See, again, those are words. Okay, I tell you to think less, to not think so much. Don't think unless you're working and so forth. Again, those are just general advices. But for me to tell you, get back to the state of mind of a child, I never could. Okay? So how do you get there? How do you get even better than the state of mind of a child? Anyone? You do it every day, you don't even know what you're doing, why you're doing it. By fasting. When you fast long enough, your mind becomes the mind of a child. That's what he's talking about. But he doesn't actually tell them how to do it. you actually doing it by fasting. Can you see that? Okay. That's an expedient to help you return your mind to the state of a child, where you don't think as much anymore because you cannot afford to think. Okay? Yes, Green.
단식을 해보니까 마스터께서 제가 생각이 많다고 하셨을 때는 잘 이해가 되지 않았고 받아들여지질 않았는데, 단식을 지금 7일째 하다 보니까 제가 정말 생각이 많다는 걸 오늘 알게 됐습니다. 감사합니다, 마스터.
Master, I studied fasting. You told me that I have a lot of thoughts, and at the time I couldn't understand. Now it's 7 days of fasting. I finally realized that I have a lot of thoughts and understand what you said about it.
Excellent. Exactly. If I tell you you have a lot of thoughts, you have to think less. You say, okay, you're right. But then you don't know what that state is like when you think less. You have no idea. Same thing. For Master Sheho to tell you that you should have the state of mind of a child, you have no idea what it is. That's what my problem is. Okay? The principle is sound, but the execution, the methodology is not. We're different. And this is no genius of mine. It's just that we stumble upon that. People like to do this and observe over the years, the last 10 years. I realize, oh wow, that's why it works. Because similarly, when you practice meditation, you cross your legs there and you sit and sit. The longer you sit, the more your mind dies down. That's the state of mind of a child right there. But it takes you a long, long time, and you quit before you do that because you have excuses. You say, I have to go home and cook, I have to go to work, I worry about my jobs, I worry about my visa, and million things cross your mind, and you don't get to that state. But if you commit yourself to fasting, okay, so now you have a block of time where your mind actually is forcibly slowed down. And that's the state of mind that you experience yourself. Okay? So that's why so many of you try fasting, because it works for you. Okay? It's more intensive, but actually it's much faster for you in that sense to reach a state of mind of a child. Okay? So that's the difference. So far, so good? Okay, so that's the difference between ours versus theirs. For this is no surprise to me that so many of you try fasting, here in particular, okay? Because that's what you get to, that state of mind, okay? Watch the audience, don't look at me. When they raise your arms,
A Di Đà Phật, thưa thầy, thầy nói đúng, tại bởi vì thường ở nhà đó con hay search for Google News and stuff around đó, con read. Và bây giờ con không even want to read it because I don't even want to bother about it either. Thank you, thầy, for this chance.
Master, usually at home I will surfing news and read, but when I'm here I don't want to read, I don't want to bother with it anymore. Thank you so much for the chance.
Okay, question from the internet.
Yes, we have a question from the internet. The person asks, what is the best way to teach children about the things in slide 23 and 24? So that is the filiality, fraternal respect, loyalty, trustworthiness,
Okay.
propriety, righteousness, and occurrence.
Okay, we're coming to that. And again, you guys look up those meanings of those things, especially Chinese people, okay? Help me out. This is a Chinese concept. You have to help me out. Yes, Green.
마스터 질문입니다. 단식이 효과가 빠르다는 것은 알고 있는데 다시 예전으로 돌아가지 않으려면 어떻게 하면 되는지 질문드리고 싶습니다.
I have a question, Master. I understood that fasting gives us a fast result. What can I do not to go back to the before? The previous state.
Okay.
추가로 더 말씀드릴게요. 그러니까 단식을 해서 저도 그렇고 주변의 사람들이 효과가 있고 변화가 있는 것은 많이 봤지만 단식이 끝난 후에 다시 그들의 예전의 모습으로 돌아가는 것을 많이 봤기 때문에 이 질문을 드리는 것입니다.
The reason I'm asking you is I have seen people doing fasting, and there are a lot of people I saw them change. But after the fasting is over, I also witnessed that they go back to themselves.
Okay. That's also natural. Of course, the fasting forces you into the state of mind, like a childlike state of mind. But once you start eating again, you're back to normal, you have plenty of sugar in your system, then you start plotting and scheming again and discriminating again. That's normal. Okay, it's nothing you can do. That's part of your existence. That's part of your, if you will, karmic retribution. Okay, you have no choice. This is why we're here. We're here in this world because we're here to scheme. We're here to plot for ourselves. We're here to feed on our greed and our anger and our stupidity. That's our existence. It's not flattering, but this is our environment. If you're not greedy, you're not normal. If you're not angry, you're not normal. If you're not stupid, what's the matter with you? You think you're better than us? It's sad. But look around you. Look at, the politicians. See how greedy they are. Okay? How phony they are. Okay? And so you see, that's the nature of our environment. We chose to come to this Saha world, this environment. So this is how we condition ourselves. The environment conditions ourselves. The kids, as they grow older, okay, they will learn to scheme and plot for themselves as well, because that's what is expected of them in order to survive and thrive in this world. Okay? The only way you can isolate them, can protect them, is to isolate them. Put them in a ward, put them in an area, like autistic children. Okay? In some advanced countries, they have a center for autistic children. So they go there and live in the world. They do the things, and that reduces the thinking. Okay, and that's the only way to protect your children and make them think less, unlike us. Okay, but how do you yourself? How do you yourself want? What can you do yourself to avoid going back to the state of normal adults, if you will? Okay, you can only do that. In order to do that, you need one thing. Number one, you need to know what the state is like. when you don't think. Okay, when you're fasting. You need to see that yourself. It cannot be described to you. Like Master Shehoi says, you should be childlike. That's words. Doesn't mean anything to you. It doesn't mean anything to me. Okay? Actually used to bother me, these types of instructions. Okay? Child. I'm no child. What do I know? How can I do it? Okay? But once you enter these states of where you actually stop thinking, you stop scheming because you can't anymore. You don't have the energy to scheme anymore. Remember? When you have the energy with your coffee, with your drinks, with your, God forbid, Coke from Warren Buffett's company. Yeah. You know, you have so much sugar that you keep thinking. You keep using your brains. When you're in the state of mind where you are, and many of you are right now, you can't afford to think anymore. Okay? So that's the state that you're experiencing. Okay? So after that, you go back to your normal self. After you eat your normal diet, that's when you start thinking again. You see, you can yourself then experience the difference. And with that, now you have a choice. Do you want to go back to normal, or you want to stay in the state of mind of a child where you minimize your thinking? So it only happens out of preference. Okay? Better yet, it only happens out of need. Go ahead, Green.
저의 지난 겨울 선칠 때 제가 9일 단식을 했었는데 마스터 말씀대로 선택이 있었습니다. 그래서 저는 일반 재가자이고 직장 생활도 해야 되고 학업도 맞춰야 했기 때문에 다시 예전으로 돌아가는 것을 선택했고 별로 달라진 수행의 진전이 없다고 느꼈었습니다. 마스터 말씀이 모두 다 맞아서 너무 놀랐고
Master, last winter, Chanchi, I did the 9-day fasting. You're right, there was a choice. But I am a lay person. I have a job and also have a school. And I felt like I didn't make any progress. And I'm really surprised that what you just said is right.
Surprised? Excuse me? Surprised?
그리고
wait, is this a Korean tradition? Are you surprised by your... wait, the translation? Am I missing something in translation? Or did she actually say surprised?
다시 질문 드리겠습니다. 제가 말씀드리려고 하는 포인트는 마스터 말씀대로 선택이 있었는데 저는 생각이 없고 그런 약간 몽롱한 상태가 나의 제가자로서 삶에 방해가 된다고 생각해서 두려워서 예전으로 돌아갈 것을 선택했던 것 같습니다. 다시 말씀드릴게요. 마스터 말씀대로 선택을 했어야 했던 그 타이밍이 있었는데 선택의 타이밍이 있었는데 단식을 해서 생각이 없어지는 그 상태가 일반 제가자로서 삶에 도움이 안 된다 생각해서 두려움이 들었다. 그래서 저는 그냥 다시 예전에 생각을 많이 하고 분석하고 욕심내고 그런 예전에 저로 돌아가려고 했던 제 선택이 있었다는 걸 지금 알게 됐다.
So after the fasting, I understand there was a choices, and then I could make a choice, but I didn't. I decided to stay as. I was afraid to make that choice because I'm a lay person, and I thought that having the state of child's mind is not going to be helpful as a lay person. So I went back to how I was. I was greedy, and I just became go back to myself.
Okay, so it's a matter of need. You choose to go back to your normal state because of need. Okay, but that's normal. All we're doing here is to give you, to expose you to that state of mind of being childlike so that you know what it's like. And that's part of your development. In the future, you'll be able to make the choice. Right now, unfortunately, your skills are not advanced enough to be able to do that. But eventually, in the future, as you develop better skills, you'll be able to do that. You'll even be able to enter better than a childlike state. A child, at least some childs are not as desirable to me as. Okay, all right. Some child is just too mischievous. So to be a child like that, some of those children, it's not that desirable at all. Okay, so it's eventually that's part of your development. It's gonna happen eventually. Okay, that's a promise. All right, let's continue. Okay. So you see, I want you, especially you Sangha, especially you who are being trained to teach Chan, to understand why I'm explaining this to you. This is what makes us different from the Chinese. Okay? In order to help them, okay, the Chinese only describes it. We somehow have to find a way to bring them there. Is that clear? Okay? Chan to us, Chan training, to me personally, is to bring you there. It's not about describing it to you, because then your imagination goes wild. I'm supposed to be a child, but some child are just not desirable. You know what I mean? Some childs are. Some children are. Some children are not. So, which one are we talking about? Okay? And that's forget about words. Okay? I want you to get there. And this is, when you're there right now, that's a childlike state compared to your normal state. That's all I want you to know. Okay? And it gets better. That's nothing yet. So far, so good. Okay. So let's go return to original, revert to the source. Again, those are words. It's important to know these terminologies. That's Chan right there. But again, it's not what you think it is. Again, you read this and you'll manage, it really used to bother the heck out of me reading these things and said, what is that? It sounds good, but what is that? Let's be real. Good thing is free, because if I pay for this, I say, I want my money back. Okay? We Westerners are very, very practical. You want me to spend time doing this, and you tell me, I'm going back to the original, I'm going to revert to the source. Okay? I struggle with this. Okay? But anyway, these are the important concepts for you to know. Okay? You return the original, revert to the source, that's good. So what it means referring to is that your mind can be further refined. That's all you need to know right now. And eventually you get to the point where actually you are able to stop your thinking. Because originally your mind doesn't think. There's no thinking in your mind. That's what it's referring to. Okay, but it used to drive me up the wall, these Chinese teachings. It bothered the heck out of me. Okay? I'm used to paying for information. You can't throw information at me and expect me to digest it. It is this important. Okay? Yeah. So as Westerners, we turn off by this. YouTube question.
Tian Go asks, Master, is this child state corresponding to a samadhi level?
No. Yes and no. Well, anyway, it's not the way she thinks, that's why. Anyway, so then to learn from a little child, good Lord, geez. I like to learn from a little child. I like to learn from teenagers. But they're not teaching me. They're not doing anything to teach me. Okay? I have problem with this way the Chinese speak. Okay? So I point this out to you because I want you to avoid talking like this. Okay? It may make sense to the Chinese. For me, as Western educated person, I really struggle with this. It bothered me so much. And there's no one around I could ask. Okay? The so-called Western disciples of his or Chinese disciples of his, as a Chinese, they don't know how to explain it to you in English. As a Westerner, they say, well, it's obvious to me, isn't it? I mean, maybe to you, but not to me. Okay? So don't talk like this. I'm cautioning you. We have to be a Chan for the Westerners, not for the Chinese, okay, not for sheeps. The original Bần Yuan, Bần Mian Mu, the original face, the original face, not appearance, the original face. Mian Mu is your face. Okay? Again, these are Chan concepts would have nothing to do with a child. Okay? I strongly disagree with Master Shurangama here. This is now not how I would teach you Chan meditation to you Westerners. The Chinese, they understand this. They read about this since they're very young. So to them, Bần Lại, Mian Mu, again, all those things, they read it for so often, they think they know what they're talking about, but they don't. Okay? How about you Koreans? You have the same problem now. You read this in the scriptures, in our Chan, in sewn materials, but actually it doesn't mean anything to you. I know that. I look at you, I know you don't know what it means. Okay? Let's cut it out. Don't be like adults. Adults lie and say false words. Little childs won't. They won't, but they also twist things the way they want. I notice some children are like that. They twist things, okay, to fit their needs. Some of them are too smart for us or for themselves. Okay? So again, this analogy doesn't hold water for me. Anyone thirsty? Okay. Never mind. Not anymore. Okay. Excellent. Okay? So far so good? Cut it out. Okay? When the Chinese talk like this, I assure you, none of them knows what they're talking about. None of the Chinese I met who talk to me like this have no clues. Least of which the monks and nuns who talk like this. Okay? Unless they're very old. They're like my master generation. The young generations, forget it. It ain't gonna happen. Okay? They regurgitate from these books. That's all they do. They have no clues what they're talking about. Okay? That's not Chan at all. Chan is about to bring you, in my mind, Chan is about bring you to that state so that you know what we're talking about. Not just throw words at you. Words confuse. That's my experience. So far, so good. So this is why I differ from a Chinese. I don't care for this Chinese approach of describing Chan and teaching Chan like this. I was confused for many years. It bothered me so much. And I wanted to sit there and say, what does it mean? It sounds so important. What does it mean? Please tell me. It doesn't seem to bother the Asians. I don't get it. They read it so much themselves from a very early age until they do now. And so, I heard it before. Of course it is. But they don't even know what it is. Yes, sir, great.
Con nghĩ cái hòa thượng nói cái tâm của con nít mà người lớn đó, người lớn mà cái tâm như con nít tức là không có tính toán đó. Tức là dùng cái biết mà trước khi mình tham lam khởi lên đó. Thì cái đó mà quá trình tu học một vị thiền sư hoặc là một vị tăng ni hoặc Phật tử đó phải bao nhiêu năm mới tới. Cái cứu cánh là như vậy đó, chứ còn quá trình rất là lâu. Thì con may mắn là sau khi con thấy Đức Phật Di Đà năm 75 rồi, 1975. Thì một năm sau người ta đưa cho con Kinh Lăng Nghiêm. Kinh Lăng Nghiêm là diễn tả hết cái bản đồ để đi tới cái tâm như đứa trẻ đó, tâm chứng đạo đó. Phải làm sao? Rồi học làm sao, giữ giới làm sao, 5 giới giữ như thế nào. Rồi cuối cùng nếu làm không nổi thì có chú Lăng Nghiêm để giúp đỡ cho mình. Quá trình mà thường trong cái Phật học viện đó, một người sơ cơ phải học 3 năm như vậy đó. Này Hòa Thượng nói cái tổng quát như vậy thôi. Thành ra đó, cái Ngài A Nan nó tượng trưng cho mình, người mình đó. Thấy thì khoái, con mắt khoái, cái lỗ tai này nghe cái tiếng đờn, tiếng nịnh họt thì khoái, chính nó cột. Thì Đức Phật mới giảng cái đó là không có đúng, là cái yêu lý sinh này nọ. Thì Ngài A Nan mới hỏi chứ bây giờ làm sao? Trở về cái đứa con nít đó, cái không đó. Thì 10 phương chư Phật mới xuất hiện mới nói ông A Nan ơi, mắt tai mũi lưỡi thân ý ông bị cột, bị mê mờ, bị cột, cho nên ông dính theo những cái sáu trần mà ông bị nạn. Bây giờ muốn mở ra thì ông dùng một trong 6 cái đó ông mở, đừng có theo nó nữa. Thì cuối cùng Đức Phật mới biểu 25 vị Bồ Tát á, mấy ông tu mấy ông mở sao nói cho A Nan bắt trước. Thì 25 vị á, trong đó có một ông thì ổng đi, ổng nói ổng ôm mình bác đi khất thực. Ổng đạp trúng cái gai độc, toàn mình mẩy đau nhất chịu không nổi luôn. Tại vì ổng lo ổng lắng đi mà ổng nhớ cái lời dạy giảng lecture của Đức Phật đó. Cô dịch đi con.
Master, when talking about the state of the kids, actually it means that you have to return to the state of your mind before you arise the thought of calculating, and then you have to use your knowing nature to aware that when your greed arise or whatever. And then this kind of state, it takes a long time in order to achieve it. So when in 1975, after I see Amitabha Buddha, and 1 year after that, someone gave me the Shurangama Sutra. That is the roadmap for you to achieve that state of a kid. So that sutra teach you like you have to how to do this and that. You have to keep precept, and then in the end you have to recite the mantra. So people have to study the program, and then it take them 3 years to finish the program in Vietnam. And then in the sutra, Ananda is the representative of us. So whatever he see, he like it. Whatever he hear, the good sound or whatever, he attached to it. And the Buddha of the 10 direction explained to him that it's just the illusion, and show Ananda how to come back to the empty state, and point out to him that the 6 sense organ, the eyes, the ear, the nose, the tongue, etc., actually are the things that that bind him, and then teach him that do not chase after the sixth sense organ. So for him, in order to untie the knot, he need to untie one of the things. And then the Buddha asked the 25 sages the method, what did they do in order to achieve the state. And then there was a monk that shared his experience. One day he was on the alms round, and because he was so concentrated on contemplating the Buddha's teaching, he accidentally stepped on the thorn that has poison.
Okay, stop. I don't want you to continue anymore. That's not where I want to go. Okay? He's talking about the traditional way that he's been reading the Chan books and listening to the Chan lectures of the Chan teachers. To me, too slow, not interested. That's not where I'm heading. Okay? It's okay for the Chinese or the Asians, not interested. Okay? Stop. I don't want you to continue. Okay? That's not where I'm leading you. Okay, at all. Okay? Open your eyes and ears and learn. It's not the way I teach Chinese, it's not the way you learn. Okay? YouTube comment, go ahead.
Daniel says, I understand childlike as being pure of mind. In other words, not calculating. A child that is born has no concept of evil yet.
Not all children. Okay. All right. So it's not the way that this guy is leading. This is how they are Chan and meditation being taught out there. He's too polluted. I don't want that kind of training. Okay? It's not. Okay? Let me give an analogy. Give an example. You go to the temple, okay, and meditate with me. I sit here, meditate with you. As you go through your meditation there, up here, I'm plotting, okay? I'm planning buying a bigger temple, getting more money, getting more famous, getting more disciples, and on and on and on. So my mind is full of thoughts. Yes? What does it do to you? It pollutes you. Just like you sit there meditating up here, I'm playing music. So you sit there and you can't help but listening to the music. We're talking about the music of the mind. Okay? The music of the thoughts. My thoughts, I'm full of thoughts, scheming thoughts, greedy thoughts, angry thoughts. Okay? It's similar to you sitting there and listening to the music I play up here. Same thing, similar effects. You got the point? So that's why the environment and who you meditate with is very critical. You choose the wrong place when you meditate. You don't go to a place where you don't go to the concert to meditate, do you? Huh? Yeah. That's why when we teach Chan, our responsibility is to sit with you and calm our minds down so that your mind, your noisy minds cannot affect us. That's what we do for you. I don't care what they think about, Buddha taught that, Buddha taught this. That's theory, that's too slow. That's not Patriarch Chan. That is sound technology, that is sound knowledge, but that's not Patriarch Chan I'm teaching you. Too slow. You hear? That's what all the Chan teachers are talking about. All the Son teachers are talking like that. Not for us. Okay? So we teach by example. That's why I'm stressing. Some of you lay people as well, left home people, will have to teach Chan in the future. This is our style of Chan, not the Chinese. Okay? We bring you there. Because the Chinese way of teaching Chan, the Vietnamese style of teaching Chan, the Zen style of teaching Chan, the Son style of teaching Chan, it's all like this. Be like childlike, be at peace. I want to see what it is like. Okay? If you can bring me there, it's worth a lot more to me than talking about it and describing it, because those descriptions really bothered the heck out of me when I was practicing on my own. It killed me. It's a lot of words. They don't mean anything to me at all. Like he's talking. Go back your mind, clean your mind. What? My mind is not clean. And that's why I'm here, to learn how to clean it. And the way they do it is they keep on talking and talking and talking. But if you follow the 25 sages methodology and you go to the marketplace, is it going to happen? You only talk theory. That's all you guys do. We bring you there. Either by being with us or by doing something that will calm your mind down. Because talking about it, okay, is not going to help you. This woman doesn't care whatever it is we talk about, okay? But when she sat with us, okay, during a Chan Chi, the mind calms down. That's all. That's all has to happen. If you ask her, what are you doing? She says, I'm meditating. What do you do meditation? And doing my leg pains. That's all she knows. But meanwhile, the mind calms down. So our style of teaching, unlike these people, they talk, and sound technology, and it's based on the scriptures, based on the sutras, but doesn't do anything for me, people like me. Okay? People like her, who doesn't read sutras, who doesn't understand anything we talk, the original face. What is that? Never heard of it before. How can she get there ever? You talk like that, she said, I don't understand anything. I'm wasting my time here. So our Chan is different from Chinese, let me assure you. Okay? YouTube question.
Cordelia asks, Master, I'm trying to follow your instruction to stop thinking, but now my autopilot occurs more often. Am I going in the right path, or should I try to stop the autopilot as well? Is autopilot thinking?
You go in the right direction, nothing to worry about. Okay? You just have to make time to devote, like do a 9-day fasting. It's a very, very powerful expedient. Okay? It's just that it's just like you know it's the proper medicine, but the dosage is not enough. You're not taking it long enough. Okay? So it's a matter of following through the instructions instead of doing it not to the letters. Okay. Yes, Q&A.
Emitofuo Master, I'm following Master for many years now, and I still tumble on following the schedule. It's really, really tough. And if you can start from 3 o'clock early in the morning until 11:50, then we may have a chance to still our mind and empty our mind.
and I still working on that.
Okay, so that's our style. Our style of training is that we give you instructions in order to bring you to that state of mind. That's why we're different from the Chinese in that sense. The Chinese talk too much. Vietnamese talk too much to me. Japanese talk nonsense. So incomplete instructions. Okay? For example, you have not sleeping. Okay? It's very good Dharma, but the way you do it is not very productive. It has its limit because that's why you only get to a certain level through that Dharma door, but it could be a lot better. So you see, this gentleman who just talked from Gold Forest, okay, he talks like that. You notice, okay? He talks like that. He understands a lot, just like these Vietnamese. They read a lot, and they listen a lot to the great instructions. But guess what he's doing? I follow the schedule from 3 until 11:50 at night. And guess what? He still checked his phone for messages. He said, I'm here following the schedule. But where does it say in the schedule? I don't say anything to this guy because he knows it all already. Okay? He knows everything already. I'm not going to tell him anything that he hasn't heard yet. But where in the schedule, sir, does it say you should be checking your phone for messages, for whatever?
It's not that much. I repent of that.
For 10 years, that's what he does. But I don't dare say anything because he knows everything already. He has heard everything already. Okay? And of course, he's from Master Shenhua's, so they know everything already. What I'm telling you is nothing new to them. It's just the way the execution is wrong. And so I want you to see that this is our distinctive characteristics, is that I teach you, I brought you there myself, and when you become a teacher, you have to do the same thing I'm doing. Bring people there, stop talking about it. That's why people can get there without knowing anything, because they're there. Chinese talk too much. It's annoying. Yes, sir. White.
Thank you, Master. I want to know, one thing I think about the childlike mind is that they are constantly full of wonder and excitement at very mundane things. And when I'm in the meditative mind, is it okay to feel excitement?
It's okay to what?
Feel excitement or wonder?
Sure. Eventually you have to drop it. Then you will discover something even more exciting, more wonderful. By dropping what you find exciting and beneficial and wonderful right now, in order for you to get more, you have to drop that. It's just like you only have 2 hands. And you grab on to all the gold you can have. Here and here. Okay? When you see something more worthwhile, what's better than gold? Tell me. Huh? Diamond? So woman-like. You see? So when you say, I have all the world, all the gold that I want, this is so fantastic. Okay? So by the time, and you refuse to let go, this is my goal. And you don't realize that you, in your mindset, you are refused to get the goal. Whatever someone gives you next, you say, no. I got all the goal I want. See my problem? See your problems? You are too smart. He says, I am so happy, I'm so comfortable, I'm so successful, I'm so rich, I'm so famous. And you ask me to give it up? For what? It's an act of faith. If you're not willing to give it up, because I told you I tell you go give it up, you never learn. That's the premise of Chan. Because if I ask you to give up your gold, and you say, you only willing to give it up because you know for sure you're gonna gain, then it's called greed. They have to charge you for it. It's not gonna be free. Yes, by number 2.
About this not using your thinking mind, I personally know maybe at least 2 programmers, like computer persons. So what they would do is, at least one would do is, like let the computer does the thing. So for example, you go to, maybe from here you go to somewhere, you let the computer tell you when to get out of the bus, when to stop, when to move, without using your mind at all. So when something dangerous happens, you wouldn't know too. So completely, and when the computer is not working, the person doesn't know where the person is. So is that a good thing? Because the person's not using the thinking mind.
I don't know how to answer that politely. Help me out. Yes, go ahead. White programmer.
Okay. Thank you, Master. I will provide an answer from a programmer's perspective. So I discovered programming when I was probably like 20. And then I started to have the same false thinking. If I know that I can write a program, that program can take care of things for me. I had that thought for a very long time, until I realized it's a fallacy, because I think more in order to write that program and worry about what will happen if that program doesn't run, worry about the million different things that can happen to the program, worry about updating it to keep it up to date. So there are many, many, many things that that can happen to the program that I have to take care of. So essentially, I ended up thinking more, not less.
Very good. Thank you for your contribution. I'm glad I didn't have to say anything nasty. Go ahead, Q&A.
A Di Đà Phật. Dạ thưa thầy, con xin trình bày cái kinh nghiệm của con đã trải qua để trả lời cái câu hỏi, cái vấn đề mà cô mới vừa hỏi đó. Thì nếu mà mình không suy nghĩ gì hết, thì khi mà gặp một cái vấn đề gì thì làm sao mình biết phản ứng. Thật ra cái tâm con người nó không phải là cái máy, nó không phải như cái computer. Mà khi mình không suy nghĩ đó, mà gặp cái chuyện á, thì cái trí mình nó phát ra và nó phản ứng rất là nhanh. Nó phản ứng chính xác vô cùng. Là con xin thông dịch trước rồi con kể sau.
Master, I would like to share my experience to answer the question, like if you don't think and then if you encounter any problem, how do you know how to react? Actually, I find out that our human mind, it's not a computer. So whenever we encounter any problem, our mind will react very fast and very correct.
Xảy ra cách đây mấy năm rồi. Con cùng hai người bạn đạo ngồi trên một cái chiếc xe chạy ở trên đường 55, highway 55 South vào cái giờ cao điểm, tức là xe nó chạy rất là nhanh.
So this happened a few years ago that I and two other friends that we drive together on Freeway 55 South during rush hour. So meaning that there was a lot of car and then they drive very fast.
Con có thói quen là khi ngồi ở trên xe thì con thường niệm Phật. Con không có nói chuyện với hai người bạn đó. Thì đang chạy như vậy thì chiếc xe nó bị tắt máy. Trên cái highway rất là đông. Mà cái điều đáng sợ hơn nữa đó là cái hệ thống điện nó cũng bị tắt luôn. Không có thể mà bấm cái signal mà để báo hiệu được.
So I have a habit that when I'm in the car, I will recite the Buddha's name. I was not talking to my other friends. So we were on the freeway driving, and then suddenly the engine stopped running while we are in the middle of the highway. And the scary thing is like the electric system shut down. We couldn't even turn on the emergency signal.
Thì hai người bạn đó, một người thì phone về nhà để báo tin cho người nhà biết. Một người thì phone cho AAA để mà rồi sau đó phone 911. Thì ngay cái lúc đó con không hề suy nghĩ, không hề sợ hãi. Nhưng mà con biết rằng cái chết đó, nó đến tích tắc từ phía sau. Những cái chiếc xe ngoài sau nó sẽ ủi tới và ba người này sẽ phải chết. Nhưng mà cái tâm không hề sợ hãi. Thì lúc đó con làm gì? Người ta đưa cho con một cái miếng để mà che nắng buổi chiều đó. Thì con cầm cái miếng đó lên, con thọt tay ra phía ngoài, con quơ cho thật nhanh như vậy nè. Thì các xe ngoài sau nó thấy, nó biết, và mỗi xe đi ngang qua nó bóp kèn để nó báo hiệu cho những xe phía sau. Thì cái đó con trong lúc đó không vọng tưởng, không sợ hãi, mà cái phản ứng nó vô cùng chính xác. A Di Đà Phật.
So when we were in that situation, one of my friends called home to notify the situation. The other one is calling AAA and then eventually call 911. So when I was in that situation, I didn't scare at all. But I know that the death is coming. It can happen in any moment from behind, like people can hit us. And you know what? Right at that moment, I used the things that cover the glasses. So I just used that piece of covering things, and then I waving outside. I make a lot of waving to signal people, and then somehow people understand, and then the other car, they avoid us, and then they was beeping, they was making noise so that other people knows that our cars was breakdown. So at that moment, I don't have any false thought. I was not scared at all, but my mind react very fast and very precise.
Điều đó để chứng minh rằng cái tâm của chúng ta không phải là cái máy điện tử, máy computer. A Di Đà Phật, con xin hết.
So that to prove that our mind is not a computer at all. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Exactly. That's what happens. When you don't think, that's when your wisdom takes over and will give you the best solution possible. Okay? So that's what you will eventually, all of you, if you stick with Chan, will discover yourself that that the rest of your life, when you have critical moments that you find yourself in, and that whether it's solving a big problem, whether it's danger, and when your mind is not thinking, your thinking mind is not active, that's when your reaction, your solutions are far better than a thinking person. That happens time and time again. Okay? That's something you discover yourself, unless, I'm sure she's not the only one. Many of you have experienced similar situations before. For example, at work, you need to fix you have a problem, and quite often, if you just look at it instead of thinking about it, just keep on looking and looking and looking, and not thinking. Avoid thinking. It's called contemplation. That's a trick I'm going to teach you tonight. Okay? Don't think. You do the research, you do the homework, you read up on the materials, okay, about it. You should. And then once you gather all the information, you just look at the problem, don't think. Okay? Just look. It's called contemplation. The solution will come to you. Okay? Whether it's engineering problem, whether it's a cooking issue, whether it's a crazy patient, okay? You know what to do. Okay, it's a rather cool thing. It's a very useful skill that you develop. Okay, just look at it. Do your homework, do research, and look at it. That's it. Stop thinking, and the solution will come to you. Yes, Green.
I have the similar experience as the lady. One time my daughter and I was driving on the freeway, and she was just learning, and I was teaching her how to drive. And she was supposed to get on the on-ramp, but then she forgot. And then at the last minute, she decided to turn, but then she overshoot the turn. So the car keep on going, and it almost fly off the bridge. And immediately at that time, I just automatically grabbed the wheel and turned the wheel. I can see the car fly down the bridge, and I can see our life end right there. But then I just grabbed the wheel and turned it, and the car at the last minute spun and then went off the on the road. So at that moment, if I panic, if I think about what to do, then I wouldn't have been able to do that. It's a split-minute decision, and it saved both our lives. And we end up crashing onto the side of the road, but then we were safe, and nobody was there. So everything turned out to be okay. And my daughter panicked because she didn't know what to do, so she threw up her hand. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then it was a split minute, and I was actually in the passenger, and I was in full lotus reciting. Mm-hmm. But when that happened, it's like you see it in your mind.
Mm-hmm. I just wonder what a wonderful experience. I just wonder, just for the heck of it, if you were doing yoga, what would happen?
Yoga, I would have been able to turn the wheel with my feet.
Good answer. Okay, so let's go back to the Master Shurangama's teaching here. He says, I have a question. Should I let the children be, or should I influence the children, teach the children? Right? All right. And then he goes through a lot of things, eating him like a piglet. No, okay, God forbids. We don't do that in America. Okay. You can't kill him, eat him yourself. Okay, well, you can't kill your wife and eat her either. Okay, so Okay, now to 18. You must love and care for him a lot, be compassionate towards him, be compassionate towards him. Okay, sure, you're supposed to be a parent. And you should take care of him, cannot ignore him. Right, as if you have time. You take care of him because his thoughts are not sound. Well, okay, so slowly guide him to take the proper path. You won't let him take the deviant path. Okay, this is well-meaning, being well-meaning. Okay, but as I listened to this, I couldn't help thinking about my cases where actually my family is evil, very deviant thinking, very nasty people. Okay, and somehow didn't affect me at all. Okay, the scheming and all the scheming, all the selfishness never got through to me. Okay, because that's why I thought, in a way, you can plan all you want. This is where I want you Westerners to be a little bit better informed on this. There's something called blessings. When your child will have the blessings, therefore, the child is impervious to the things, negative things that surround him. You got that? That's my experience. Okay, I rejected all that, all the scheming, all the lies. I always look at my mother's lying, which is she lies every day, every moment. I look at lying as beneath me, below me, you know. Whereas my sister would pick up the lies herself. Okay, but I refuse to lie, that kind of thing. Okay, so there's something called where you think you're in control and you want to protect your child. Actually, it's not the case. The child protects himself if they have the blessings. This is what you Westerners don't understand. This is you Asians still don't get it. Okay, it's your child's own blessings that protects him. Okay. And for my entire life, I never understood why I was so scared of drugs. For some reason, I was scared of drugs. And every time, my friend brought me drugs and so forth, my inside, there's a voice inside me, no, don't go there, don't go there. Okay? Because once you get in there, it's very difficult to extricate yourself. It's a waste of time. Okay? Very painful, as a matter of fact. You see, so my point here is that you can be so well-meaning, you can be so protective, but if your child doesn't have the blessings, there's not much you can do. Is that clear? Okay, we have to try our best. At the same time, you need, they have their own blessings. All right. Next, 21. Deviant path, they use drugs, okay? If they have the blessings, they would not use drugs, okay? Stop blaming the country. My brother is a drug addict. My brothers use drugs, okay? And for some reason, I was never interested. Cocaine, marijuana. So you give your parents a hard time on slide 22 because the parents neglected him. My parents neglected me because life is hard in Vietnam. You make ends meet. You struggle. All parents struggle. Okay? And you can talk to children, they always tell you they neglect me. They don't pay attention to me because the life is overwhelming. Let's face it, okay? Other words. However, this is what the Chinese thinking, the parents taught him filiality, fraternal respect, loyalty, trustworthiness. Is that what the question is about? Talk about these things? Yes? Jared, explain to us. What is filiality? What is fraternal respect? You didn't mean to raise your hands? Oh, phew, how disappointing. Anyone, have you done your research on these things? Help us out. Okay? And there, the Chinese master says, teach him about filiality. Okay? This has come first in his world, Chinese world. Filiality. Okay? You have to be filial to your parents. Okay? So you simply put, you take care of your parents. You cannot neglect your parents. Okay? As a child, how are you going to take care of your parents? You don't teach a child about filiality and explain to him, you have to take care of me. He said, no, you take care of me. Okay? So how do you teach filiality to your parents? You teach filiality to your parents by being filial to your own parents and bring him along so that he can witness, he can watch how you filial to your parents. So far, so good? Don't sit there and say, I want you to be filial to me. He says, what are you talking about? Can I have a toy? Okay? So, time and time again, okay, you have to behave with filiality to your parents. That's all you have to do. Don't keep on talking and talking and talking. Okay? Okay? You do filiality by actions, not by words. Yes, White.
Yes, Master, I agree. I think the best way to teach children is by example. And if they see that you're doing what you can to be with your parents, take care of them, and so forth, they know that's just what you do. They watch your actions, they see if you're respectful, are you loyal, are you trustworthy. I don't know about fraternal, what that might mean.
Okay, one thing at a time. Very good, thank you. Okay? For everyone, not just the Asians. Yes, Green.
Master, I have another question about school. So, how can I improve in school?
How can you improve in school?
Yeah.
Some things cannot be helped, my boy. Okay, and you have to do your homework. Okay, in the Asian tradition is that we do our homework. Okay, you do homework before you play. That's important. That's a discipline you need to learn. You know, every day you have homework to do. Make sure you do them. You can't do them, ask mommy to help and to be there. Make sure you finish your homework. Okay, and that's the good thing, good habit to have. Okay, and you do your homework. You will improve your grades. All right. YouTube question.
Brady asks, what do you do if your kid has ADD and never pays attention to you?
If your kids have ADD, then I don't know. We're talking about normal kids. With special needs kids, it's a different situation. Okay, it requires special handling. So I don't have a quick answer for you. Okay. Unless someone has some suggestions. Some free advices? Yes, White?
I don't have, well, for the ADHD, I don't have advice other than, Medicine Master Buddha plaque. I just want to share a story regarding school. I heard it from somebody told it. So this child was in a house, the mom is recite Amitabha Buddha's name, And for some reason, this child would wake up and maybe recite 108 times. And then he goes play, doesn't really study very hard, but he would recite Amitabha maybe like morning and night. And then he said to Amitabha, he said, you know what, let me get like a good grade, like maybe, 100%. And then I forgot what he said, and he promised he would do maybe like an hour, like he will do more recitation for Amitabha, basically. I forgot what he was promising, how he said that, and the parents looked at him were like, you negotiating with Amitabha? And then for some weird reason, he did get what he wanted, so he got like really good grade, even though he didn't really study a lot. But the child, then he did follow his promise. He executed whatever extra work that recitation or whatever he would do about Amitabha. And then, so I would imagine, like Master told us, has explained to us many cases. For adults, like usually when we get a Medicine Master Buddha class, we get better work and maybe like our work situation and life situation gets better or health. I would imagine it will work for a child too. So if you want to, to do really well in your school, then you probably want to bow to Medicine Master Buddha and recite his name and ask him for help. That's self-help and others' help. Thank you.
Did you want to say something? No? No, okay. Okay. Okay, so next concept. Okay, again, filiality, do it yourself. Don't talk about it. Are you filial to your parents? That's how you teach filiality to your children. All right? There's no substitute for that. You can't talk, you can tell, you cannot tell your children, you must be filial to me, you must obey me, whatever. It's not going to go over very well to the kids. Okay? So be filial to your own parents. That's what you do. YouTube answer.
Jane says, I have ADHD. Sitting meditation and fasting work very well.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thank you. Okay. White.
I just thought of something, an example about the effect of being filial to your parents. So my mom's going to be, we're going to see my mom in a week or two up in Oakland, and she's going to spend 3 or 4 days with us so she can have her 94th birthday with all of us. And we're trying to figure out now how she's going to get back home. We prefer to drive right now. So my son said, I'll drive her back. And he's just going to take time whenever my mom wants to do it. He said, I haven't had any time to be with her, and I want to do it. So he's going to drive her back up to Oakland. And then he says, and I know, I'm going to spend the night with her, and then I'll drive back the next day. So, I'm very pleased to know that came from him. He wants to do something to take care of her.
Yes. Okay, because he watches you.
Yes.
Okay? You don't talk about it, you just do it because it's just what you do. There's no need to explain. Okay? We eat. Okay? We sleep, we play, we rest. And that's what we do normally. So it's like being filial is like a normal thing we do. You take care of your parents. Because the Westerners are not taught that. The Westerners are taught that the parents brought you to the world, therefore they owe you and so forth. And there may be some truth in there. But what differentiates a good person from a ordinary person is that he's more filial. Okay? And let me warn you, filiality is a lot more than just this. As you get higher and higher, more advanced, okay, the filiality we're talking about is way beyond what Master YongHua taught his disciples. At least the way they understood it is not that. Okay, so It's because of limitation. But filiality is you take care of your parents, okay? Whether people understand or not, whether people approve of you or not, doesn't matter. You take care of your parents, okay? Very simple. And you don't tell your children you should take care of me. That's not filiality. It's self-serving, okay? Fraternal respect, D, okay? Fraternal respects, I don't understand the Chinese concept, and the Chinese people, please help me out. Fraternal respect to me is very important if you have siblings, okay? That's why, if I may, I'm advocating for children so that you have more chances to teach about fraternal respect, okay? I know people frown at me and say, oh, that's very expensive, okay? Nothing really good comes without costs, okay? So stop making excuses. So fraternal respect, okay? The way I learned it is that there's hierarchy. You have to show respect to your older brother, the older siblings, okay? Older sisters, okay? Very simple concept. If they're older, you need to show respect to them, defer to them, okay? That's it. You respect the hierarchy. You expect, could say seniority. You respect authority, okay? Even though they don't make sense. And what I struggle with when I was younger is look at my brother and say, I have to obey you? Seriously? Okay? But you have a problem with that? I usually have a problem with that. Okay? I still do. But the point here is that you learn to observe the hierarchy, respect the hierarchy, respect seniority. It's a good thing. And I think most children struggle with this. Okay, but it's a good thing to teach them. There is fraternal respect. Okay? That's D. So there's order, there's hierarchy in life, whether you like it or not. Okay? Whether they deserve it or not, you still give them respect for seniority. Okay? And later on in life, they'll find themselves working with someone and say, you're obsolete. Your knowledge is obsolete in terms of programmer. Your knowledge is obsolete in our field. You're not keeping up. Okay? But yet you're my boss. You're telling me what to do. That if you have fraternal respect, it makes it easier for you to accept the fact that it's not only technical knowledge, but also a lot more to being a boss, being your boss, than just technical knowledge and technical expertise. Okay? For example, I trust people to be in a certain position in the hierarchy because I trust them. I trust they understand what's important to me. I trust I can teach them when the time comes. Okay? So that's important. It's a matter of trust. It's not technicality, because technical stuff, sorry, dime a dozen. I can buy that knowledge. But trust has to be earned. Okay? So, fraternal respect, I agree with this. This is important. We need to teach your children that, especially if they have siblings. Okay? Loyalty. To me, this is critical. Young people are not loyal nowadays, especially you who go through the modern educational system. There's not much emphasis put on loyalty, which is a crying shame to me. If you're not loyal, why would I trust you at all? Why would I marry you at all? You're not loyal. Because as soon as it's more profitable somewhere else, you abandon me. As soon as you are angry with me, disappointed with me, you quit. What good are you? You don't understand. Let me give it to you, present it to you from a perspective of an employer, of a superior. Your bosses, our bosses, including me, applies to me too. They invest in me. Just like I invest in you, because they invested in me. So now it's my turn to invest in you. You know, if I'm not loyal, I say, I get a better deal somewhere else. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you for all the goodness you're giving me. Okay? If I were the next guy you're coming over, can I trust you? Would I be willing to invest in you? Answer clearly is no way. If you're not loyal, the good bosses don't want you. Trust me. If you're not loyal, the good no advisors don't want you. I spent years experimenting with you. Good people, loyal people, disloyal people, crazy people, bipolar people. I experiment with all kinds of people. Okay? The one constant that does not change is that the losers who are no longer here, especially the recent losers, are absolutely disloyal. I spend years trying to turn them around. Loyalty has to be in your core. It's not something you can pretend or, see? That's why it's so important you teach them at a very young age. Once they become older, they start thinking, calculating, discriminating. It's not beneficial. No one else is loyal. Why should I? And they give them their excuses. They said, I have to feed my family. If I'm loyal to this loser, how am I going to feed my family? See? And these people, I tried and tried and tried. Okay? And gave them, and gave them, and gave them. Knowing full well they stabbed me in the back at the same time. As soon as they disagree with me, okay, and in front of me, they kiss my feet, kiss up to me. Behind me, they slap my back, okay. In the end, they hurt themselves, okay. Disloyal people hurt themselves. This is the bottom line. I didn't have to do anything. They hurt themselves. They do something disloyal to hurt themselves. Okay? Let me give you a warning. When it comes to cultivation, you have to be loyal because, this is a network. I'm not here by myself. I'm not here teaching you by myself. We have the whole group of people who are assisting me in teaching you. If you are a traitor, if you betray any of us, okay, we all know it's the end of your training. Trust me. You no longer want it. You betray Master YongHua, I want nothing to do with you. You betray, you got no advisor, you get nothing out of me except junk that you deserve. Forgive me for being so strong, use the strong words, but this is, it comes down to your life and death. What else is more important? For you, you worry about making money, becoming famous, becoming a celebrity. You think you can come and suck people's blood to serve yourself? You learn nothing. You only learn unimportant stuff. Okay? The evil side, they expect to be disloyal. You know that? They know on the evil side, you will betray them. It's expected of you to betray them. On the good side, it's just exact opposite. You want to stay in the good side, okay? Loyalty is critical. You may decide to be disloyal for short-term benefits, but you have a label on your head, a forehead here, okay? Back then, in the old of Europe, the old world, they have a letter here, adulterer, in red. They burn into your forehead. You're an adulterer. Okay? We are not as cruel, but we do have something similar. Okay? We have something called a stamp. It says, disloyal. No one's going to teach you. Yes, White.
Master, I'm not sure how you define this term of loyalty and being a trader in this situation, especially in the modern day when we come to cultivation and chant. So we have a situation a lot of time. Our first master, you have a teacher that you're following, and that teacher may not be the best knowing advisor for you. Now, because most people, they have the they brought up with the concept of loyalty, then it's defined that you're supposed to be loyal to that particular only teacher and not to go out to learn from another teacher that's better. And then if you do, then yeah, usually that's considered, for the traditional way, that's considered disloyal. I don't know, if you go to look for a better teacher, is that considered trader disloyal, or is that a way, and a balanced way of seeing or thinking or understanding that?
Good question. What's the answer? That's an exception in Mahayana only that I know, where you are allowed to go look for a good no advisor. There's nothing a good no advisor can do about it. Okay? In Mahayana, from my understanding, is that it's perfectly okay to look for a good no advisor when you feel your current good no advisor is not helping you. Okay, the example is from Shakyamuni Buddha. He went and looked for a good no advisor when he first started, and then he stuck around, and until he's so sure that his good no advisor can no longer teach him, then he left. Okay, so the Buddha set the example himself already. Okay, so in my book, it's perfectly okay to look for a good no advisor, even if you're misguided, like the case of Linji, Master Linji, who his teacher was teaching him, but he did not realize he's being taught. So he left because he realized he felt his teacher was too cruel towards him, too unfair towards him. It's perfectly okay for him to quit. It's allowed in our world. Okay? So that's why when he went over the other teacher taught him, continue to teach him. Because if it weren't okay, the other teacher that he left and went to would have not taught him at all. All right? So it's an exception where when you look for a good no advisor, it's perfectly okay to mess around. All right? But loyalty is a highly desirable quality in men, in women. Okay? If you have this label, okay, an L label, L stamp, this is a loyal person, okay? You be a prized employee, a prized disciple, because you can be taught. Okay? And what happens in my past experience is that these disloyal people, okay, they're only in it for themselves. So that when we invested in their training, to help them overcome their problems, but they misunderstood what we were trying to do. So they bit our rear end, okay? They slandered us and so forth, okay? And because of that, okay, they spun out of orbit. The real teachers would never want them. Okay? Too bad. Whereas on the other hand, no matter what, you stay loyal, and that in itself will be tremendously beneficial to you. But you find out for yourself. Okay, finally, trustworthiness. Chinese people, aren't you going to help me out? What about all these things? Okay, trustworthiness. Okay, trustworthiness is very simple. Okay, when you say something, do it. You don't mean it, don't say it. Okay, you say you're going to be there, be there. You say you're going to do it, do it. Yes, Green.
I think Xing is faith, not trustworthiness.
Faith. Okay? Faith. That's also in the sense of trustworthiness, isn't it? Dependability. Tín. tín là meaning you're trustworthy. Yes, spy number 2.
Well, the thing I would imagine for usually for this context, 忠孝, especially these 4 things together from the traditional old Chinese, well, they usually mean somebody has virtue in order to have any one of these character. And seeing over here, I would say most likely has to do with trustworthiness, like
Yes.
in the old time. But then, if we put this word into cultivation Buddhism, Amitabha recitation, then that would mean faith.
Yes. In Buddhism, sin here in Chinese means faith. It has its purpose. But here in general, when you teach children, you cannot teach children faith. You turn them to robots if you teach them faith. Okay? So this is when we talk about training your children, it's about trustworthiness. Okay? Meaning that you have to stand by your words. Yes, Green.
지난 저의 삶을 돌아보니 잠깐 그때 제 이기에 따라서 좀 갈아탔던 것 같습니다. 그러니까 다시 말하면 충이 없었는데 지금이라도 충을 하려면 어떻게 해야 되는지 여쭙고 싶습니다.
Master, I'm looking to my life, looking back to my life, I believe I didn't have a trustworthiness. How can I start to have trustworthiness from now on?
Some things may be too late. Because once you are not trustworthy, no one believes you anymore. Okay? So sorry. Next. Yes, White.
Master, I found this in my dictionary is a Confucian set of 4 virtues. And for the last one, it says, faith in your male friend is the traditional Confucian virtue. It says filiality towards your parents, respect to your elder brother, loyalty to your ruler, and faith in your male friend.
I see. Faith, trust your male friend, not faith. Okay? So now you can start having faith in your male friend. That's it. Yes, sir. Orange.
Thank you, Master. The way that I am understanding it is faith worthiness. So somebody is worthy of having faith in. Does that seem appropriate?
No, it's because you have faith. That's why you're worthy. More that angle than okay. Anyone else? Very good. Thank you for your points. This is Confucian value systems. That's fine. The Confucians, they use these 4 virtues, 7 virtues, and so forth. Is in order to indoctrinate the general population to make them more governable. Okay, but so here to say trustworthiness originally was to have faith in your male friends is sort of outdated. Okay, I don't think it's the case anymore at all. I feel that in order for society to be orderly, you need to stand by your words. Okay, it's also one of the Asian value system. Okay, you stand by your words. When you say it, when you commit to it, you will stick to it. even at the expense of your own life. Okay? Because in particular, in our era, in our times, okay, we are so reluctant to take losses so that we go back on our words when we are about to experience losses. Okay? And that's deplorable. You're not trustworthy at all. Yes, White.
I totally agree with what Master's definition of trustworthiness. I'm not sure if Venerable Senja got that idea from, maybe that was more like, sound like maybe another concept, which is the concept of E, which related to buddies. That was really big, that you have to help out and trust, and that might be that concept. Yeah, trustworthy is huge, and there's so many things in Chinese, like one word you said, they're saying is worth like a 1,000 £1,000 of gold or something. It's really...
No,
yeah.
You girls have got all wrong.
That was the definition. That's the idiom. Somebody from China could pull up that idiom.
I don't care about that
English.
Chinese person.
Well, but then about being
just because he's from China doesn't mean I'm impressed.
Well, I'm just saying that is that idiom to build on culturally that definition.
No, though the Chinese expression is more like, once I said so, even 4 horses cannot pull me, can
yeah, another one, yeah. That's
something here, you Chinese people.
Something like that.
Don't you remember the Chinese expression? Something like, when you say something, the 4 horses cannot, what's the exact expression? Come on, Chinese people. Real Chinese people, not fake Chinese people. Yes, go ahead. What? Yeah, the 4 horses will have a hard time trying to catch up with you. Something like that. That's what I learned from trustworthiness. Okay? I don't know why they use 4 horses.
Well, that's about trustworthy. I also would like to respond to the comment on, if you have not been trustworthy or you're lacking that in your life. Well, in my opinion, first of all, trustworthiness at the deeper level is also a non-permanent variable. But then if you want to build, it's never too late. Obviously, it's just like cultivation. Just like filiality, you start to act it. You start to do it yourself. You build that trust. You for other people. Obviously, if you don't have trustworthy, that means it's two-way. It's yourself and it's the other party. It takes 2 persons to make that happen. So you just keep working on it, and then over time, if you get the right person, then the trustworthy will build, just like filiality. You could keep modeling it, then your good children, those who have virtue, will follow it up. Your bad children who have no virtue, disregardless, they will ignore it and they will act bad as they would because they don't have the blessing and because they are just lacking in that value. So it's not never too late, in my opinion.
Excellent. What about Q&A? Very good input. Yes. Forced by.
Emitofuo, thank you, Master. Master, I just want to share something that I experienced yesterday. Today is my last day of fasting, so it's my 13th day. But yesterday, my 12th day, I started to feel tired and feel like my head is so heavy. And then I took the time to sit and start learning the longest 42 hand and eye that I haven't remember. And when I first do it, I was able to repeat it 1 breath, 2 sentences, 2 times. And then second time I did it 3 times, 4 times. And by the time I was able to do 1 breath with 5 times repeating the mantra, all of a sudden I feel like my head is like light. The whole body feels so light and full energy again. So that's something I experienced yesterday, and I also would like to say that on the physical part of my body, beside that the feeling of inside, but my hand today, 100% of the brow spot is gone.
Wow.
And
Why only
yes.
happens to San Jose people? Huh?
and the last thing is I would like to send my deepest gratitude to you and the whole sangha from everywhere. I can't
Okay.
thanks enough. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good luck to you, huh? It's nice knowing you. Okay, San Jose Q&A next. That's it? No mass?
No mass.
Okay, no
Gracias.
mass. Okay. Yes, Green.
Jane said 4 horses. The 4 horses are used for pulling a large carriage.
So,
You're asking why 4 horses?
like a Wells Fargo kind of thing? Thank you. Okay, so why would the 4 horses have a hard time catching up with you? Chui, right? So, what does it mean? Give me the complete picture, not just the 4 horses carrying a Wells Fargo thing. Okay. It's interesting that somebody said, yeah, I have a problem with sin, with trustworthiness. Okay, it's because you're too selfish. You only see yourself first. Okay, it's easier to be trustworthy when you know that others depend on you, and that's more important than you. Your reputation, your dependability, your words mean something. That's more important, so that you can be trusted. And if you only go through your life and only follow your own desires and what's serving yourself, then you're a very lonely person, very, very lonely. Okay, so how to change that? It's a matter of perspective. You have to shift the paradigm and start by just don't say anything unless you mean it. Once you say it, you have to do it, even at the expenses of heavy losses, including your own life. And that's a question I have for you. You know, for us in modern times, isn't it reasonable for us to say that I need to back out my words because now it affects my child? Huh? If I keep my word, it's gonna harm my family, harm my child. Is that okay? You're left with a very difficult choice. What to do? And instead of waiting for you to give me an answer, because I'm running out of time. So be it. Because for you to keep your words, it means that you have to take heavy losses that has a negative, adverse impacts on your family, on your child, on your wife, and your children, and so forth. So be it. Because in the past, you benefited them with your good words already. So you cannot be short-sighted and only and give yourself exceptions. You too.
Jane asks, why is the fasting days in odd numbers, such as 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, and so on and so forth?
No, actually the fast days are only 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. But because you are weak, so we make exceptions. Okay? But if you are a purist, like Master YongHua and his disciples, we are not purists. We are doing expedience because I don't quite understand why it's 9 multiples of 9 days. Okay? That's his wisdom. I admit to you, I don't understand it. Okay? But that's his tips. So I hope someday some of those you will figure it out, because I don't understand it. I only can go so far as explaining to you from your state of mind, where 9 is a good thing, but then if you're able to have some time, okay, push yourself to 11, 12, it's still better than 9 in my mind, okay? But there's some magic about the number 9 and multiples of 9s that I admit to you I don't understand, okay? Plus, also there is some aspects where when you go to higher days of fasting, it becomes rather dangerous. So that's not my purpose. When I do fasting with you, because I need to keep an eye on you, I avoid getting into the things where I don't quite understand, okay? To be honest with you. So I'm not willing to take chances with your life because of my ineptitude. You know, something bad might happen to you. So that's why we stay on the cautious side. Okay, there's more going on with their fasting when they recite these things, they do these contemplations. To me, I don't quite understand either. So my interest in this fasting is an expedient for me to help you, to bring you there. Okay, simple things. You fast and naturally you get there because of the environment. In a different environment, you won't be able to get there. But in our environment, for some reason, for this kind of environment, people naturally enter these states, enter samadhi. This is not the case. When I was when I first started at my master's temple, okay, the fasting didn't do much. Because why? Because there's too much scheming going on. Okay? The reason it works for you because we're not as busy you are. Our minds are not as crazy as yours. So therefore, you have no chance but go to rest. Your mind goes to rest. Whereas the other places, because the people around you, and especially people in charge, are not in a healthy state of mind. That's why it doesn't work. So it's not the same. That's why you can come and learn, and they can come, the spies can come and learn and say, oh, I know how to do it. You go back, it's not going to have the same effects because there's a lot more going on than this. Okay? So our fasting is different from Master YongHua's fasting. And you have to give them credit for it. We train them a different way. I never received training to do that. Some of them went to 36 days, 72 days, and so forth. I didn't. So I wouldn't want to go there myself. Fasting to me is an expedient to help you, bring you to that state of mind. But that's only to help you there. But there's other things to me that are much more effective than going 36 or 72 days. Okay? That's too slow for me. Okay? It's a lot of punishment that I don't think that most of you are equipped to do that. Okay? It's rather dangerous as well. Okay? And that defeats the purpose. The purpose is not to torture you. The purpose is to help bring you there quicker. That's all. And to me, when it goes beyond a certain level, it ceases to serve my purpose. That's all. Yes, Green.
Chun said it means that you have to honor your promises. Even 4 horses cannot catch up and change your promises once they are made.
The 4 horses can catch up, and I see. Okay, that's very Chinese. Okay, I buy that. It makes sense. That's what I always understood, but I couldn't articulate it as well as the Chinese. Somehow, every now and then, you have to give them credit. We steal from them, okay? Yes, by number 2.
I have some case in point about trust, modern day trust. I'm not sure, probably not the Chinese way. So, for example, you guys all know Daniel, the cat. So, even he promises you that he'll be on time to work, that's not gonna happen. It's just the way it is, physically, how medical condition, whatever you call it. He could try very hard, but it's just not gonna happen in 8 out of 10 days. Now, but he's really good with difficult clients, like in his workplace. That's why they're keeping him and they don't want him to go away. They are tolerating him being late, maybe 2 hours late every day or so. Because he's really good. Clients that they couldn't do it, couldn't take care of the client for like 20 years, they could do nothing about that client. He got it fixed up like that for whatever reason. So that's trust. That's trust in modern day for his employee, for him. Now, but if you want to use the hard way, you go to work that, we trust you, you got to be on time, that's not gonna happen, and that's not realistic. Another case, example, me, last time he did the fasting for 3 days, I had no trust that he would make it at all. I just like, okay, I just didn't believe it would happen, but he kept his word, he made it through. And then what? I'm very happy. Now if you say I should have loyal and faith in him, forget it. Not gonna have that, because then I would be so disappointed myself. But I'm happy he made it in the end, but I'm not disappointed. But if I start off with saying that, I'm supposed to have faith in him that he will make it, and fooling myself, and when it's not gonna happen, I'll be like falling down from 20 feet top building down all the way down to hell. Not gonna get it back up. Thank you.
Amen. Okay, very good for you. No comment. Some things are better left alone. Let it be, let it be. Okay, all right, there's more, but time is up, unless you want to continue. No, you don't. I guess not. So we continue tomorrow with 24th, propriety, righteousness, incorruptibility, and so forth. Okay? All right, thank you all.